Hey guys, this is Roxann Smithers with Smithers and Ume-Nwagbo, your trusted 360 General Counsel, and this is a note from my Legalpad. Sometimes, despite the best of intentions and efforts, a business relationship is not meant to be, or it has simply run its course. When clients come to me saying that they are looking for an opportunity to end a business relationship, the first thing that I'm going to look at in order to help them to figure out an exit strategy are the terms and conditions of that contractual relationship. So on today's note from my Legalpad, I'm going to walk you through some of the provisions that I look for and I specifically address when I'm drafting contracts on behalf of a client to make sure that we've got a couple escape hatches. So when I'm looking for or drafting escape hatches from contracts for clients, there are a couple key provisions that you want to make sure are in there. One of the first, the simplest, cleanest, most efficient provision that you can have in your contract is a termination without cause provision, or termination for convenience. This provision allows one or both parties to simply decide that the agreement is not working for them, the relationship is not working, and they would like to terminate the contract or the agreement. Now, that provision may require a certain amount of notice to wind down the relationship or services, or provide for what happens for any activities that are in process, whether they are finished, whether they are cut off, and deliverables are provided, and how much compensation needs to be provided in the event of a termination without cause. It basically says it's no one's fault, but we need to end this relationship and essentially go our separate ways. Another automatic way that you can end your contract or make sure that there's an opportunity to end your contract are to have limited terms in your contract. Either have the contract be month to month, the contract can be 6 months, the contract can be a year. You can have automatic renewals if the parties want to keep the contract going, with an option for either party to decide that they don't want to renew the agreement. Or you can set it up where the contract will terminate automatically after a specified either amount of time or specified event, unless one or both parties want to move forward and renew the agreement. The next way that you can sort of create an escape hatch in your contract are to have contingencies for performance or contingencies for source pricing. If you work in an industry that has volatile pricing, and for one side or the other, it's beneficial to either have certainty in that pricing or flexibility in that pricing, you can set up a situation where the contract either automatically adjusts to take into consideration that volatility in the market, or the contract terminates in order to protect one or both sides from that volatility. Now, depending on who you are in the situation and whether you want that certainty or you want to take advantage of the volatility in the market, this sort of contingency provision will definitely have to be negotiated, and you may get some pushback from the other side. So you have to be ready to have a little bit of give and take. You can also have other performance metrics. Certain phases of services have to be provided for the contract to continue. Certain results have to be reached for the contract to continue. Or certain levels of satisfaction have to be met for one or both parties in order for the contract to continue. This gives one or both parties a little bit of control and power if the contract and the relationship is kind of going off the rails and you want an opportunity to redirect the ship or to stop the ship dead in the water. And then finally, one of the big ticket items that can bring a halt to a contract is what's called a force majeure provision, or more commonly known as a act of God provision. This contract provision lays out specific types of activities, events, or circumstances that are out of the control of either or both parties that may warrant either or both parties being excused from their performance under the contract, either altogether for a certain amount of time or at a certain price point. you can tailor that force majeure provision however the parties would like, depending on the type of work they're doing and the potential sort of circumstances that could interrupt that agreement. Some standard examples of force majeure provisions can be literally acts of God and weather, can be governmental or civil unrest, labor strikes, or other actions of the government that may limit a party's ability to perform under the terms of the contract. And oftentimes you are also seeing now some situations where certain health emergencies that are widespread enough, or public health emergencies, may be a justification for a force majeure action to either terminate a contract or suspend a party's obligation to perform under that contract. So no matter the circumstances, it can be critical to have an escape hatch or two in your contract. So if you have the opportunity to draft a contract, you'll really want to think through the circumstances in which you want to be able to get out of that agreement, the circumstances in which you want the other party to have the option to get out of that agreement as well. And if you are reviewing a contract that you are planning to sign and agree to, understand your options for getting out of that contract, and you may need to put in some additional effort to negotiate to put in an escape hatch or make an escape hatch provision more favorable and suited to your needs. So if you'd like more information from the attorneys at Smithers and Ume-Nwagbo, you can reach us on our website at STU Law Group. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, as well as liking and subscribing to this YouTube channel to get more updates and notes from our Legalpad.